droogs, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we're doing something different. As new releases begin to dither down, I'm going to go back to my watch list that dates back all the way back to the 70s that either I've never seen or I've never reviewed, and we're starting with the iconic 1971 film, A Clockwork Orange. This is a movie that I have never seen before, and a part of that had to do with my upbringing and being sheltered from certain films, and that included barring me from seeing and or reading this story in school. My upbringing was always content found at the surface was always more important than the deeper underlying subject matter found within the film once you took a few minutes to mull it over, which is exactly what you need to do with the sublime film, A Clockwork Orange. Let's get crackin'. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, sublime, of such excellence, grandeur, or beauty as to inspire great admiration or awe, aka the feeling I get when I look at myself in the mirror every morning. A Clockwork Orange follows around Alex, a street hoodlum who finds joy in sex and violence and does not care about the lives he may be ruining with his droogs. After being arrested, Alex signs up to be the guinea pig for a new experimental treatment that supposedly cures him of his afflictions. But the real question is, at what cost does it take, and what exactly does a cure entail? This was a film that stuck with me after I saw it. I had to actually sleep on it before I could really get my thoughts out on paper, and I know it was only recently, but it feels like at the core, that's why this film became iconic, because of the ideas it boldly offers the viewer. I don't talk about this very often on public channels as it is rather private, but I have an autistic son, high functioning but still has behavioral technicians that come into our home on almost a daily basis, sometimes for hours, and what they're actually doing is they're trying to curve and steer his actions and behaviors to be something that is acceptable and manageable. But it doesn't actually change what he wants to do or what he ultimately understands. It just makes our lives easier. This film is exactly like that. It's just a little bit more exaggerated and translated into visual metaphors to extend the message that they're trying to spread. And honestly, it hit close to home. I often think about the repercussions of what the behavior technicians are doing just to make our lives easier. There's a lot of food for thought in this film because it's about the cost of free will and what that means even if you're a bad person. It's about political agendas. There's a ton of moving parts under the surface. There really is. And it's a film that you can have a multitude of different discussions over, which I guess makes sense for being a story that you read in school. Because of that, Kubrick was the perfect person to tackle this massively controversial film. Now, as much as I felt like this was a masterpiece, I still thought it had some issues, technically speaking. First of all, there's a lot of verbiage and lingo that I couldn't follow. I didn't understand it. I could still follow the story itself and understand what's physically happening, but some of the stuff being said was completely lost on me. Another problem that I had with this film is that it has the same exact problem as last year's Joker, in that there's so much focus on just this one guy and his personal journey, which is good, that all the side characters are kind of pointless. And just like the Joker, they're all there to basically help further his journey in one way or another, but they themselves don't contribute to the story independently. They don't have their own goals or aspirations, and narratively, there's just not much of a direction this film is heading. After Alex goes through his medical procedure, it just kind of lets him loose and lets him experience the world while having no control over his body. And that part right there could go on forever. Technically speaking, because there was no point B that Alex was specifically trying to head towards. Here's what it comes down to, only friends of this humble narrator. This film excels in making the audience think and making them feel something and making them reconsider how they view the world, which is all things that affect your bias while watching, which explains why I often felt like this was a masterpiece, even though it has technical issues. To break that down even further, my unbiased score in the film is a measly 74%, but because the film crawls under your skin and forces you to think about and discuss so many aspects, my bias score is actually 90%, averaging everything out to a final score of 82%, 82 out of 100 possible stars, granting A Clockwork Orange with a letter grade of B-. So I don't consider it a true masterpiece. In my opinion, true masterpieces have a high score both in the technical marvels and in the way that it makes you feel. Tell me how it made you feel though. Do you consider A Clockwork Orange to be a masterpiece? Do you think it's an unforgettable piece of cinema, or do you think it's really just a weird aged film that gets too much hype? Let me know below. As for YouTube, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button if you like this review and would like to see some others like it. Hit the thumbs up button because that always helps out my channel. And don't forget about the little bell icon because that'll help notify you when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.